Tonight with Andrew Marr. Watch live on our free Global Player app or the LBC app.
6:19. So what about the American politics? Earlier in the week we were talking about the very mixed messages from the Trump administration about how this war might be brought to an end. As the new Iranian leader presses on, what's the thinking in the White House? Let's talk now to Simon Marks, LBC's Washington correspondent. Simon, I've been watching President Trump's explanations of the war, and they're changing. Any mention of regime change has dropped out. And recently, any mention really of the nuclear problem has dropped out as well. It's now just about hitting missiles and ships.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Andrew. It has been a cascading series of contradictions and changes from the very moment that this military action, in conjunction, of course, with the Israelis, began. And the more time passes, it becomes increasingly evident that President Trump wants to wrap it up. He keeps saying that it will all be over soon, but then there are developments that bedevil him and his White House. And one of those came today in this statement purportedly issued by the new Supreme Leader, son of the old Supreme Leader, saying that Iran intends to do whatever it can to close the Strait of Hormuz. Even on that issue, we've had complete internal confusion within the Trump administration. 24 hours ago, the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, a member of President Trump's cabinet, was proudly announcing on social media that the U.S. Navy had escorted the first oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz, which was news that resulted in the oil price falling because traders thought, oh, well, maybe, you know, things are going to be okay in the Strait of Hormuz. But then within an hour, Central Command and the Pentagon denied that it had happened. And indeed, the White House said that the Navy had not yet been given any instructions to engage in that kind of activity. And that's just one example of a White House that projects strength and a determination to bring the regime in some fashion to its knees, but behind the scenes is clearly extemporizing.
We could talk about this all night, Simon, but I must ask you about this awful attack in Michigan on a Jewish centre. What more do we know?
Yeah, so we know that within the last few minutes, law enforcement in West Bloomfield Hills in Michigan have confirmed that the suspect in this attack is dead. This all began a little bit earlier here today when a car rammed into the entrance of a synagogue about 25 miles northwest of Detroit. It also is a synagogue building that contains a school. The suspect was then confronted by armed security guards within the building and appears to have been killed in that exchange. The building itself, part of it anyway, appears to be on fire, and out of an abundance of caution, the local sheriff says that he's keeping everything locked down while a search is conducted to see whether the suspect had any help from anyone else that may have been involved in this attack. But all of this, of course, raising concerns here, coming as it does towards the end of a week where President Trump has publicly conceded that Iran has sleeper cells in the United States that could be prepared to launch terror attacks. Of course, we have no idea yet what the motivation for this was.
Absolutely, but clearly a very, very important developing story for everyone to stick with LBC with over the course of the evening. Simon, for now, thank you very much indeed for that.